Does that mean that this is going to fire up into the stratosphere? Not necessarily, but what it is giving a confirmation of is that the trend has completely changed, and that was the bottom back there. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we're going to take a look at the charts, including here's the Bitcoin dominance chart, and we are breaking down like we thought we would. Here's my Twitter. You can follow me at BCBacker. Otherwise, let's start diving in. Today, we are seeing more green on the board with the cryptocurrency market, including XRP and really the majority of digital assets. There are a couple in the red, but for the most part, everything else is in the green. Bitcoin is really trying to get through that 9550, 9600 region. If it can get through there with some strength, I would be expecting that Bitcoin will be going up to about 11,500. Now, normally we're not talking about these moving averages, and I don't use them very often, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that anybody should be buying on moving averages. It's very well known that I'm way more into Fibonacci retrace levels, and Fibonacci's are way more important to me. Now, everybody's going to have their own preference on which indicators they like to use and what combination of them that they like to use, but for the most part, I don't really like moving averages because of the fact that they get violated so much. If you just take a look here at this XRP chart right here, you can't really tell me that these moving averages on a daily time frame were something that were tradable. I'm sorry, but there just wasn't. There was really only one time where it really could have been, and it was right there on that breakout. Otherwise, wow, I mean, there was just nowhere to really use it for anything. So when we come back over here, I'm not saying that, we're going to break out above and then come back and test it and then we go up. But the main reason why I'm showing moving averages right now, in particular for the last few days and maybe this week and next week, is simply because of the bullish crossovers that are happening. And these are just giving us confirmations that the bottom of the market is already in. So like when we look over at Bitcoin Cash, we can see that the 50-day has crossed over the 100-day and crossed over the 200-day for a golden cross. Does that mean that this is going to fire up into the stratosphere? Not necessarily, but what it is giving a confirmation of is that the trend has completely changed, and that was the bottom back there. Now you may say, okay, well, that doesn't help me right now. I'm wanting to figure out what to do with my money right now. Well, unfortunately, I don't have that answer for you at this exact moment because really we were all being buyers in this channel. We were, at least I was saying, and of course, not investment advice, right? But I was being a huge buyer down in this region. I'm not saying that to show off and say, hey, look at me, I bought the bottom. I'm saying that's what the market was saying. The sentiment was very bad in the market. Nearly half the comments on my videos at that time were very negative. I was practically begging the people who were lurking in this channel to come out of the shadows and just say hi and give some type of positive feedback because it was getting even tough as a content creator with how much attacking was going on down in this region. And the thing I've learned in the past is that when things are so negative and the sentiment is so terrible, that's usually the buy time. And I was noticing it from other content creators on Twitter. I try to I didn't try to talk about it much on Twitter, but I noticed other content creators were just saying, gosh, it is so bad right now. And I'm like, man, thinking to myself, man, I know. And this is, based on everything I've done in the last year, just watching the trends change. It was always that way at the bottoms that people are super negative. And right now, not so much. Things have turned around, right? The comments are much more positive. Or maybe it's just that I've banned everybody who's negative and they can't type negative stuff anymore. Because I did reach a point where I'm like, look, I'm just not going to take it anymore. You're banned, you're banned, you're banned. And yeah, that was that. But for those who did come out of the shadows at that time, thank you so much. And so, we're just getting a confirmation right now from these moving averages that all the indicators, oh, remember we were talking back in those times, I say back in those times, a month ago, we were talking about the percentage drawdowns, the Fibonacci's, the levels, everything was telling us, we're comparing the psychology of a market cycle, and we're just like, hey, everything is telling us that this is the actual bottom, and then, you wait. Then you have to wait for confirmations to come in to tell you that you were right. because when you make entries down in those types of positions, those are called speculative entries. People then you'll hear people, well, I don't want to make an entry until I have enough confirmations. These are some of those confirmations that people talk about. So they say, okay, I am seeing volume coming in. I am seeing that Fibonacci levels are breaking. I do see that moving averages are crossing, and then they'll wait. They'll wait for something like this. They'll wait for this to pull back, hit a moving average, and then that's when they'll make their entry, and then they'll set their stop losses below that and have, a risk position set in, their risk to reward position set in. I'm not going to teach you guys how to trade on this channel because that's not what this channel is. This channel is just kind of about having fun, looking at XRP, and hopefully teaching you guys a couple of things on how you can read charts. But the main thing I wanted to tell you is why we're looking at these moving averages right now is not for trading, but we're taking it as confirmations that the positions that we took or that I took in the past were right. And that feels really good. And now we can kind of sit on our hands and wait. And everything is looking really positive right now, including when we look over just at the altcoin market cap in general. We've gotten the cross on this 50 over 100. We're going for the golden cross that, you can just kind of just visualize when will it get there, right? Somewhere like that. We're looking at around February 12th, which is a week from today. So in about a week from today, we'll get the golden cross on on the broader market. Now, for us who've already have our entries and we're all set, that doesn't mean a whole lot for us because, we're not going to do anything with that, or hopefully, maybe you will. I won't. I'm already set. But for people who want to come into this market, right? There's people who have money sitting on the sideline and they wait for the confirmations. Now that the confirmations are showing up, they wait for their entries and then they make them when they can get an opportune entry and they can have a proper risk to reward. So that may not sound like, I don't know if that's going to make a lot of sense to most of you. I don't know. Now that I'm saying all this, I don't know if that's going to make a whole lot of sense to all of you. But in the end, there are people who make investments and try to make their investments for the highest amount of reward with the least amount of risk. And when they make those decisions, they need to see certain things occur in a market before they do it. And a lot of times it has to do with seeing a trend change and seeing these moving averages cross over each other and then buying on top of the moving averages and then setting their stop losses below it so that they can have a way to measure the amount of risk they're willing to take for the entry they're going to make. So I hope that made some sense. Whereas I do something that's a little bit more speculative. I don't wait for all those confirmations because by the time you get to those confirmations, a large percentage of the gain has already been taken away. Like, for example, in this market, just looking at the altcoin market cap, by being a buyer down in this zone, if they come back and they make their buys right here, well, they're buying 37% higher than what I was buying at. Now, of course, that's not the only place I did make a buy, right? I was buying here, I was buying here, I was buying here, I was buying here. So it's, in the end, how did they do? Well, they did a little bit better on maybe or about the same as some of my entries that were over here, but for the most part, I got most of them lower. I definitely was buying in there, got them in way lower than here. So from a speculative standpoint, I was able to get in lower. What's the difference? Well, the difference is I had to suffer through a lot of pain, and a lot of you guys did too, waiting for this bear market to finish itself. There are those who will sit on the sideline and not suffer through that pain, and they're willing to give up missing this 40% rise in order to buy something that has a more clearer picture for them. But for the most part, my entries that I've made over the last several months will come in at about a 25% lower price than what their price is going to be. So I hope you can see how that kind of plays out. But hey, you know what? I'm hoping my audio sounds a little bit better. I've been tweaking with it a little bit. I've got to give a big thank you over here to Green Eggs and Ham, which is at Ham Eggs and Sam on Twitter. Give this guy a follow if you haven't already. I'm gonna bet 99% of my audience knows who this guy is because he's got great content. He is To the Lifeboats over on YouTube. You can see his content right here. Just follow To the Lifeboats on YouTube. He provides a lot of in-depth, detailed, and technical knowledge that is really above my head a lot of the times, but I've been watching him for years. And my specialty or my niche of skills and what I'm passionate about is different from what he's passionate about. I really like looking at the technical stuff and I really understand, why XRP will do something because of the fact that I engage in business and cross-border payments and I have to do wire transfers that take forever and they're slow and it's just a nightmare, and I can understand how it will be so easy to make a decision to say, hey, do you want to send this like in 5 minutes and only pay $10 rather than sending this in a day and it taking 40 costing you $45. I can understand that. That's like really easy because I do that stuff every day and I don't have to think about that if I go into a bank. It would be a super easy decision to use Ripple or to use XRP in order to do that. That's what I understand as the blockchain backer. And what I understand is looking at charts and deciphering percentages and mathematically calculating things. That's what I like to do. But to the lifeboats, he's very technical in understanding things in a totally different way than I do. He's also very good at debating people. And you could see, like, just yesterday or the day before, there was that guy who went on Block TV, and he's been like a very vocal Bitcoin maximalist, but yet he went on there and he, shilled XRP as bullish. Why do you think that happened? And I don't think I've seen anybody like talking about why do you think that happened? Well, I watched the interview with Green Eggs and Ham to the lifeboats. I watched that interview with that guy and him, and sure enough, he humbled him. To the lifeboats, humbled that guy. And here we are 2 weeks later, he's on Block TV saying, yeah, you know what? Actually, I think XRP is bullish. So if you're not following him, go give him a follow. His content is great. And thank you very much for hitting me up and trying to give me some tips on my audio. I'm not sure if I've really actually got it exactly right, but it's a work in progress, so we'll figure it out. So we'll wrap this up with XRP on the screen, and I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you can get notified when I go live and when I create new content. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need to pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.